Live from New York-tronic City, it's Wearable Electronics with your host, Becky Stern.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Today's special guest host, Colin. I'm Becky Stern. We're here in the Adafruit factory. It is May 6th.
It is. That's true. A glorious May 6th.
And
a cool May 6th.
A Velvet Blazer season May 6th. Colin, can you tell us what's on today's show?
I can tell you lots about what's on today's show with the help of visual aids, of course.
Wearable Wednesday. Every week we show you stuff from the blog, cool wearable things going on in the world, and debut a project video. Today it is a tour of my desk.
There's a lot to tour there at your desk. There's a lot at your desk.
It's a whole department.
I've spent a lot of time there. It's a good place to be. And you'll know yourselves. And our component of the week?
It's the new Flora Bluefruit LE module.
Very new.
Very new. Like
Newer
it's not.
than new.
It's hardly even out yet. New. You're seeing it here first.
Soon new. And tools we love.
To go along with the Bluefruit, you need a Bluetooth app, of course, one that Colin helped to write.
I love that tool a lot because I made it.
That would be the Bluefruit LE Connect app for iOS and Android. Learn more about that later.
And Q&A.
We'll have questions, and I will answer them. They are questions that have previously been commented, either on the show or on a different YouTube video or in the forums or on the Adafruit blog or on Twitter. So if you would like to enter to win a Flora book, all you have to do is ask a Wearables question now, later, anytime is good.
Just ask. It's that easy. And of course, our discount code for today.
The discount code today is Flora BLE, which I think is funny that it sounds like Florable when you look at it.
It is. It's both.
So if you would like to get 10% off everything in the Adafruit shop, excluding gift certificates or EagleCAD software, you can use code FloraBLE all day today.
It's a Florable.
That's what's on today's show. Jumping right into Wearable Wednesday.
Jump. I just landed.
Every week on the blog, we cover cool stuff. That would be Leslie and Jessica and me and other people blog all the wearable things happen on the Wednesday. This is a really cool
I'm liking this a lot. Yeah.
haptic glove for VR.
Haptic licorice chews. Yeah.
So Colin has a lot of experience playing with the Oculus Rift, which is an immersive virtual reality experience that you strap to your face. But when you reach out to reach for the things in the game, there's nothing there, right?
Right. And it can be really disorienting because you do automatically try to reach for things that are around you.
So these are some people at Rice University are developing a haptic feedback glove. And when you think haptic feedback, you usually, us electronics people usually go to vibrating motor.
Right.
But this is haptics in a different way. It actually has little air bladders on different parts of the glove so that it inflates them to put pressure against your hand, kind of like the object would naturally resist your hand.
Gentler. Sort of natural way, really. And they look delicious. I keep thinking about licorice. I'm a fan. I like licorice.
I like it when electronics projects look delicious.
Yeah. You're not a fan of licorice, though. But
No,
haptic,
but I
haptic
can.
feedback.
I'm
though,
a fan of
course.
haptic feedback, and well, I like red licorice, and I can see how I like anything that looks like candy, even if it's candy I don't want to eat. So,
Right.
I'm okay with that. But it's cool to see a lot of really high-tech things that become really mainstream start at research universities like this. So if you're ever bored, you should check out like some HCI research journals and stuff about tech that's coming up, or pre-startup stage kind of stuff.
They're the edge that is cutting.
Yes.
And moving right along, we
It's
have this
graduation
lovely-
season.
It is graduation season. I'm quickly reminded.
There's a customer who put NeoPixels on his mortar board. Very nice. I remember
That's what they're called, the mortar board.
mortar board. Yeah, it's a hat for graduating.
Nothing to do like a mortar, like in warfare, though.
No, it's more. It's an ER instead of AR. So
Right,
I
right.
think it's different. I never took
Making
Latin,
sure.
so I don't know. But do you remember dressing up your hat being a thing for graduation, though?
I do. I didn't, but I do know it was a thing. Yeah. I didn't have options like these in front of me.
It's not too late if your graduation is, say, next weekend or something to do this to your hat. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like an elaborate installation, but very effective. Nice work.
I think I like the infinite loop of him. Just kind of, he's going to be there throughout the whole boring speech. Just kind of.
We could come back to him later.
going
He'll
down.
still be doing
Right.
his thing.
Cool. I got it. I'll do it for a while.
In other news, Jessica posted up this open source non-invasive glucose meter. So that's really cool because the medical industrial complex really has diabetics like a strong arm about like what technology you're going to use to monitor your glucose levels, and a lot of them you have to prick your finger and use test strips to test your blood glucose levels, and that's like a pain, literally.
But this is like pulse oximetry?
It's similar to pulse oximetry, so it does use light to measure your blood glucose by having a bunch of different LEDs at specific frequencies of light that sort of hit or are absorbed by or reflected by specific types of tissue more readily. And so like you can kind of, by shining the green LED, it says you can like move the skin out of the way, and then you shine the red LED, and so like they can the noise profile you can find with like other frequencies of light to sort of like narrow down just the red blood cells or whatever you're trying to, whatever changes with blood glucose levels.
Glucose, if you allow me, blood reflects light differently than less glucose.
Right, and
blood.
certain wavelengths of light reflect that change better than others, so you can read more about it on the blog. That's the cool thing about Wearable Wednesday, is it's all links, baby.
All right, I'm gonna have to learn more on that one.
Okay, this is cool. An Adafruit team member, James. worked on this Taylor Swift outfits. So like we were just talking about why we didn't hear about this earlier, and maybe it was because of the
You were like, why didn't James tell me he's working on this?
James tell
and I'm
me?
like, look, Taylor Swift's kind of like a high level.
It's probably like it's a collaboration with Asher Levine and a bunch of other people, and it's really cool. It's got these suits with the edging, the umbrellas, and then her outfit, which is NeoPixels and XB radios. James is also in that band Anamanaguchi, and they had really cool stage lighting stuff with like wireless syncing LED modules that were passed around the crowd, and those also used wireless radios. So
and for a project like this, it has to work.
Every single time this thing is on tour, like it's gotta go.
This is almost like the medical level standards. You have to have things like absolutely working.
Yeah,
and
but it looks great.
Huge pressure for a project.
For sure, and yeah, James's Instagram was like, when you don't sleep for a month, this is what happens. So like, people ask me to do projects. Sometimes I get like, I've never been called by Taylor Swift, but
not yet. But.
When I can't handle a no sleep for a month kind of situation. It's just like not my, and they're probably too much crouching. So much crouching.
We could find ways around that, but the sleep thing is going to be a requisite.
Anyway, congratulations on that achievement, James, and thanks for putting some Adafruit NeoPixels on Taylor Swift.
Just a few of them.
Just a few.
Lots.
In other news, if we're talking about fame tokens, Vice just...
This is. I hear your voice. Oh, it's not a big deal. It's awesome.
I got this Vice interview up this weekend. It's really nice. Writer did a really nice interview.
Yeah.
Vice interview about what we do at Adafruit and Wearables, and I'm happy and sad about the title, because like in one end I've been making wearables for a lot longer than Apple Watch has been around, so I don't like it when this like new coming technology just comes in and like makes broad generalizations about my entire career. However, I'm happy to take Apple Watch up on their Google Juice. Which is what this title is helping do.
It's just, article stands on its own, but they're just keying into current events.
They're keying into current events. So it's an interview that focuses on like the why of what we do at Adafruit Wearables. So like the documentation and how it fits into like the commercial technological literacy sort of sphere and stuff like that.
And that's the perfect Vice picture.
I gave her a bunch of photos, and she picked all of the alti pictures. This is obviously my Cyber Tank Girl costume from Halloween last year.
Maximum edge on that photo. Yeah.
Maximum edge. Yeah, I like to post this picture up and be like, I don't dress like this every day, guys. Just when I'm asked to for work.
You weren't doing the sawed-off thing. Anyway, Tank Girl. I don't know if that's offensive.
There was a thing where I didn't. No, I didn't make the gun was gonna I didn't have time for the gun, which wasn't gonna have any electronics in it. You know how like if it has electronics in it, I can shoehorn it into work and like make it happen. Right. But if it was gonna be my arm crutch, like the style of crutch with the arm cuff, I was gonna build a foam gun around that. But I just didn't have time. Okay. So I was nonviolent Tank Girl.
Right. That's good.
Anyway,
err on the side of nonviolence is smart.
Well, and time conservation.
Right, yeah, okay.
If you read the Vice interview and you are not done listening to me answer questions, you might like this next interview. Which
continued.
It's not really
deeper behind the curtain.
They're just different interviews. So
right. Well, that's good. You cover the whole sphere then.
This one is by Levo League in partnership with Autodesk. Levo League is like a kind of a millennials like employment website hub. Like you can find out career development advice specifically for the young folks with the web skills. And they partnered with Autodesk to do this profile series. And they interviewed me more about like design and like what my design process is like and how conceptually projects come to fruition, and less about industry stuff and more about our actual design process for getting projects and tutorials out to you guys.
This
so
is like more fun topics.
it's if you're watching the show right now, like I feel like this interview you're gonna find you already know all of the stuff that's in the Vice interview, and this one is
Sounds more personal.
this one has information about what I eat for breakfast in it.
Really? They went that far?
Well, they asked for advice, and some of my advice was
You
about
weren't just
breakfast.
checking your mic. That's what you talk about when you test your mic. You say, "What'd you have for breakfast?"
That's what I always say when I'm checking people's mics.
Standard.
It's a standard one, yeah. Anyway, 2 interviews this week. And since it's all about me, I shouldn't have put those slides all next to each other. This week's video debut is a tour of my new desk location. It's right behind this shelf right here. Right there is my desk, and we moved it over here at the same time as we moved the broadcast station over to this new part of the factory. And since everything got cleaned, nothing got really like reorganized, but things got freshly organized. A lot of like junk went to wherever junk goes to. A lot of projects that were out and about got like archived and put in boxes, and everything's really clean and tidy. So I thought I would give you a tour while that's the case.
It's a great opportunity.
Since I can't,
The iron
then
is struck.
it prevents me from being like, and here's the thing covered in dust that I should really take home. Anyway, please.
Preserve this point for posterity. That's smart.
Hey everybody, recently we moved my desk and the whole wearables department over into this new zone, so I thought I would give you a tour. First is this shelving unit here. It's got my favorite fabric steamer, some photo equipment, tripods, and glass that I shoot on, my makeup kit, and some archive projects way up there. Over here is my video light that I use to shoot my projects, and it's my shooting spot right here. You can see I'm shooting some B-roll for this project with my Manfrotto Magic Arm that I like a lot.
One of my favorite things about my desk is my louvered bin panel with all of these bins full of delicious components.
And some component drawers. You can see that I really like my label maker. And then behind me is the rack of projects you might recognize as the backdrop for the live show. It's really good for organizing all of our hanging up projects as well as whatever will go in this bin.
Here we have plenty of light, so my plants get a lot of love. Can't keep these alive at home. Here's my cabinet of flammables. What's your favorite solvent?
Then over here are a lot of craft supplies.
3 sewing machines. I got a regular sewing machine, Lemore's serger, and a cover stitch machine. This is Inez. I've had her since I was like 13 or so. She's adjustable. This dress form belongs to Lemore, so I can't name her.
Over here we have some bins of different materials, conductive materials, felting supplies, ribbons, hot glue, Velcro, and the safety supplies.
These are our video hard drives. I've got an 8 terabyte and a 4 terabyte, filling up fast.
On the back of my desk, there's a new feature. I just put in this cord organizing rack. Ooh, so organized. And then on the back of my desk, I like to have some business cards and some projects.
Thanks for coming with me to check out my desk. We'll have more wearables projects coming to you soon, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. So that's my desk.
That's a lovely desk.
Colin, what's your favorite solvent?
My favorite, acetone.
That's my favorite solvent too.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite as in warmly thought of, but just fear and respect.
It can like dissolve plastic. Rubbing alcohol comes in a close second as like a it's less scary, more useful cousin.
Right. And then like the friendly doesn't contain acetone nail polish remover. I always like that.
Non-acetone nail polish
I
remover.
know, but it worked.
That
surprisingly
sounds
well.
fake.
I know, it was when I was like, look, I'm gonna wear rubber gloves. I don't want to dissolve everything. Yeah.
My nail polish, I can stick my hand in a vat of acetone and pick stuff out, and it doesn't do anything bad to it. Because you have to soak my nail polish in acetone to get it off.
Do you do that often? Do you stick your hands in vats?
For
of acetone?
teardowns, I have had to do it multiple times, yes.
Okay, we should talk about some safety regulations.
Acetone
after.
does get absorbed by your skin. Anyway, that's my desk. Hope you like it. If you have more questions, you can ask them, and I will answer them. I like my desk. It's cool. Workspace. Colin comes and hangs out there. That's what that table is for Colin to sit at.
Is that
It's the
exclusively
Colin
that?
table.
I was under
You
the
sit at it
impression
more
other
often.
things happened there.
It's my craft table, but you sit at it more often than I do crafts at it.
I'll have to leave more stuff out then.
Anyway, moving right along.
Anyway.
If you head over to the guide associated with the video, you can find some tools and stuff, and you can get 10% off all of those tools and stuff with code FloraBLE.
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 Good until 11:59 p.m. tonight on everything but gift certificates and EagleCAD. Okay, moving right along.
Atoms are component of the week.
Speaking of atoms,
This one will be made of them.
this is a very, very, very brand new product to the Adafruit store. So new, in fact, that I don't know that the product page is live yet, but that's okay. It's this. What? What is this?
It looks Flora-esque, but it has a large red PCB with a shielded chip.
That looks like some kind of wireless unit, Colin. What could it possibly be?
Oh, it does look really familiar. I've stared at these things a lot. Bluetooth low energy.
Yes, this is the new
module?
Flora.
Shot in the dark.
I know, with the code and everything. This is the new Bluefruit LE Flora module, so you can sew Bluetooth into your clothes and make all of your like phone app, like be able to adjust the parameters of your wearable or get information from your wearable sensors into your phone or through your phone over Bluetooth Low Energy. So this is a big deal. We've been waiting for, there was like a thing we were waiting for, the chip to update. They're like to get the most updated chip, and we finally got them in, and we're making these right now. They're going into the store like as we speak, and they will definitely be up today before the discount code is over. So
Stuff comes out so quickly, and just we just finished making them quick. Just make it so you can buy them. It's amazingly quick. There's no shipping between places, and it still kind of blows me away. Although I work here,
right,
and
they
I
just
should
like
be
go
used
like
to it.
from there to like
Right.
there, and
Take
they
them over
get
there.
tested.
Good.
And, there's a we have a little video of it blinking just to prove that it does stuff.
It does work. It is in fact a functional module. I mean, just the blinking LED doesn't really prove that, but okay.
Well, but it's sewn on the fabric and the whatever.
No, I know.
Yeah. So
Obviously, I
like
know.
all of our other Flora accessories, it's very similar to is it the UArt friend? Is that the one that it's like?
the Bluefruit friend.
The Bluefruit friend.
Bluefruit LE friend.
There's two that I get them confused, and it's so new that I have to ask lots of questions.
Oh.
And
Yes, keep going.
so you can, it hooks up just like the GPS unit to Flora's TX and RX serial pins, and is not a standalone module. You need a microcontroller to use with it, and it's just like the BLE friend, but sewable. So they are exactly the same hardware, same code, and all of that. Although the Bluefruit, the Flora one will have its own tutorial because the code for changing the NeoPixel color will be slightly different.
Right,
Whatever.
right.
Here's a picture of the back. You can see how big it is. It's basically the same size as the GPS unit.
Very small. Nice asymmetrical design.
Very asymmetrical. Look, guys, we cram a lot in there. We can't make everything symmetrical.
No, I like it.
If you would like to learn more about this product and get it later today when the product page goes live, you can use code FloraBLE to get 10% off. I promise it'll go up really soon. It might even be up now.
And on a related note, things that you can use with that
Yes.
is a tool that we
Today's
love.
tools we love, yeah. So today, in honor of our guest host, Colin Cunningham, we're going to talk about the Bluefruit LE Connect app, which is for use with all of the Bluetooth low energy circuit boards you get here at Adafruit. Colin, what does this app do?
It does a lot of stuff. I should say you credited me earlier for writing the iOS app up. Antonio.
Helping.
Yes, Antonio wrote the Android version. He ported it over and did an awesome job. What does it do? It does a lot of things. It opens up Bluefruit LE to, well, number one, there's a color picker.
That's like the coolest, right? It's like I'm such a visual person. We can just click straight into the color picker.
You can choose a color from a regular color wheel interface that you're probably familiar with and send it over as 3 values, a red, green, and a blue value. It'll be sent over Bluetooth to your Bluefruit module, and you can use that however you would like to in a project, like, say, setting the color of a NeoPixel LED.
Or several NeoPixel
or
LEDs.
several thousand.
Or Taylor
NeoPixel.
Swift's dress of NeoPixel
Or,
LEDs.
Yeah, multi-billion-dollar tour or whatever that would be. And it can also do many other things, like you can connect it to an Arduino and use it to control the pins.
Oh.
You can connect your Bluefruit to an Arduino and then
So,
use,
like, if I had like a piezo buzzer or like a motor or a regular LED connected to one of the digital outputs, I could use the phone app to turn on and off those
Right.
digital outputs.
and
That's cool.
Yeah, you can just communicate directly with it by sending strings of text.
Oh, right. Isn't there a project that we have that
There
does that?
is maybe wouldn't it be cool if there was like a big hat or something?
That displayed the text you send over the UART message?
Yeah. And
Oh,
like,
gee,
here's
I wonder if
broadcast
there's a
it.
project that does
exactly.
that.
So you'd be able to write a string of text on the app and then send it over, and if you created this project, it would interpret that and parse it, put it onto your head.
Yeah, so this project that this tutorial that Phil B made for the Guggen hat, it uses NeoPixel LEDs around the hat, and then the NRF module, the first Bluetooth Low Energy module that we released, and an Arduino Micro inside the top hat, and a big battery. And you send it a UART message over to the Bluetooth module with your phone, and it displays it on the hat. So Phil likes to wear this, other Phil likes to wear this out at events and put whatever the theme of the event is or everything on his,
So no
on
one
his
forgets.
hat. So no one forgets. Also to be festive,
Right. Does he wear it at the movies?
I don't think so. I think
Probably
it'd be a little.
not.
He wore it to the Hackaday meetup last week.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably more
Said
appropriate than a
Hackett-
theater.
Hackaday.
Yeah. So,
We have this fancy thing going on where Colin's going to do a live demo.
oh yeah. So
We have the Here's the other one, the pluggy in kind. Standard. Your
that.
your
Yeah,
standard
right, yes.
your standard style. Is this a UART
Breakout
pin?
board.
Breakout board. Thank you. That's what the.
And yeah, so you get a list of the Bluetooth devices that are visible, and then you choose a mode to connect with. And here's one that I didn't describe. This is sensors, so you can choose to stream your accelerometer data, your gyro data, your magnetometer data, and I have location turned off right now, so I won't stream that. And
That's so cool. And then
sending,
so you can see those values in the app. What can you do with them once they're in the app?
whatever you want to, Miss Stern.
Oh.
You can use it to control, let's say, a robot or the direction or position of some sort of visual indicator. Pretty much anything. You can use it to control motors.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. And then are these apps open source
They are. You can go check out the source code on GitHub.
for both the iOS and the Android version, right?
Bluefruit LE Connect for iOS or Android, and they are available there, so you can use that code and
So you
adapt
could
it.
like build your own iOS app that has this kind of baked into the inside, and so you can build your own app that can, like your robot
Right.
control app could be built on top of this.
It could be built on top of the nuts and bolts. But the great thing is you don't really have to make your own custom app when you could just send messages over.
Great.
Like, go, robot.
And if your robot was programmed to read
Right.
the words "Go Robot," then it would do what it.
It would be a very smart robot.
That's so cool. All right, thanks, Colin, for giving us a guided tour to the Bluefruit BLE Connect apps for iOS and Android. Those apps are free, but if you'd like to get any of the things that you might want to control with the app, you can use the code FloraBLE to get 10% off all of those atoms in the Adafruit store.
Chomp, chomp. On to
We have
questions.
7 minutes for questions. You think we can make it?
I think we can make it. We're going to
Okay.
do it. We're gonna
These
do it.
questions I
Bang,
picked
bang.
pretty simple questions this week.
Okay,
The prize
what do-
today is it's the Getting Started with Adafruit Flora book by me and Tyler Cooper. So it's perfect for the inquisitive asker who asks a question, and then I'll give you an answer, and then so many more answers with this book. So if you'd like a chance to win a book next week, just ask a question anytime this week on any of our channels like Google Plus and Twitter and on the blog and in the forums and on this video and other Wearables videos. And we'll slurp them all in and answer your questions and enter you to win the giveaway. That's how it works.
Squeaky wheels. Okay, we're doing this. Here we are. Rad17 asks, hi, I'm interested in making a pair of Firewalkers,
Oh, yes.
but I'm wondering if I can replace the 3 AAA battery pack with a 3.7 volt LiPo 2000 milliamp hour battery instead.
Ah, yes, Rad 17. You can. and should, if that's what you want to do. So this the Firewalker sneakers tutorial, very popular
As a reminder.
with the DIYers. You can find it on the learning system if you would like to build your own. We wanted to make this tutorial. We had a feeling it was going to be popular. We wanted to make it as beginner friendly as possible. And lithium polymer batteries have some special safety concerns that we think make them slightly less than super beginner friendly.
Maybe
So-
don't step on them a lot.
Right, so on your shoes that bend a lot, and for beginners who like don't know all of the factors at play, we don't want to put them in a situation where they're going to be bending or abusing a li-poly battery, because like I feel like for a cool project like this, people might skip over the safety warnings and look at all the cool
Click
pictures.
the lighting up. Let's go. Run.
Right, so that's why we recommended in the tutorial to use an alkaline battery pack. That way, if you don't know about lithium polymer batteries, you're not going to miss them, and you also won't then like start a lithium fire on your foot or anything. But if you have built projects before and you feel confident you can protect that battery from being bent or punctured on your shoes or inside your shoe, then
All
you
good?
certainly can. All good, yeah, and it'll be a little bit less bulky, and the battery will last longer too.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
If you're prepared.
It's a pretty good upgrade. Just be careful.
Always am. Elisa writes, "Hi, I'd like to make a wearable Neo Matrix, about 8x10 LEDs, and sew it onto clothing. Is there any difference between programming a sewn Neo Matrix using the Neo Matrix library and using a matrix made from NeoPixel strips? Assuming there is enough power to all the NeoPixels, would it behave the same way? Thank you for your assistance." Lisa, what do you think? So this is saying strips that are sewn together.
Do they behave the same way? Yes. So if you have any NeoPixels will behave the same way as any other NeoPixels.
The NeoPixels will behave the same way.
Yes, and so
Some other considerations.
the Neo Matrix library makes it easier than with the regular NeoPixel library to create matrix graphics, like on the Guggen hat and on a grid, where it's and it is like a daisy chained. Like if the products that we sell, the Neo Matrix products we sell, like the square and the flexible one that's like this, the LEDs are just NeoPixels in a zigzag row like this, and the Neo Matrix just takes care of coding your like message across like that stack
Right.
of rows.
The logic is done there.
Right. So no, the strips do not behave differently than the pixels individually. If you create a grid out of individual NeoPixels, or you create a grid out of NeoPixel strips and you solder the strips together at the ends, they will behave the same with the code.
With the code, but
I had some unsolicited advice for you, which I know you guys. That's what you're here for, right? The unsolicited
part of
advice.
the equation here.
So
Some
you asked about
considerations.
if the code will behave the same, and it's true. However, a sewn, for what you're talking about, 8x10 NeoPixels, and if you're wanting to use the Neo Matrix code, I'm assuming then that you're going to want to have most of those pixels on at once versus like the sparkle skirt where they're just kind of randomly flashing. That's going to use a lot of power current, and if you, I don't recommend. If you're a beginner anyway, I don't recommend making that out of conductive textiles. I recommend using the strips at first, and then if you really like it and it's not flexible enough for you, then go down a path where you use silicone wires. And then because I've tried to make a very large textile matrix, and I'm up to like 60 or 70 pixels, and it's working okay. But like 80 is a lot, and you'll see that like say you had them all on white, you'll see the ones at the end get really pink, because the forward voltage of the red LED is lower than the other ones, and so you get like this voltage drop, and it just can't deliver enough power. So make it out of strips first. That's also easier and faster, and see how you like it and code for it, and then you could always develop another device that uses the same code.
Okay, so err on the side of conductivity with
large,
metal.
with large displays like that. But yeah, the code works the same no matter what NeoPixels you make it out of, which is cool.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Heather asks, is there a preferred stitch when using conductive thread?
Preferred, I don't know. I mean, I usually just use the most utilitarian sketch. Sketch, Arduino sketch.
Sketch too.
I usually just use the most utilitarian
Not a sketchy
stitch,
yeah.
which is the running stitch. You can read more about my tips for conductive thread on the Adafruit learning system. There's a tutorial. It doesn't go over like the different stitches because they don't really make much difference conductively.
As long as the thread is still sound and connected. Yeah.
Right, as long as it's like the one piece connecting, because remember that it conducts much better through the core of the wire than it does over the surface of two connected pieces.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So if you have one piece, it doesn't really matter if the thread goes like this or the thread goes like this. So I would say start with a running stitch, which is just up and down and up and down. If you want something that looks a little more finished, you might consider a back stitch, which will look like you had one on the collar of your
Not
shirt,
sure I
like
do
where the
anymore.
stitches are all one stitch after the other, because a running stitch looks a little bit like a dotted line.
Oh, and this
And
other one, they're more compact.
They're
or
like
visible?
touching each other, yeah.
Or they're
So,
visible.
but I would say more important than the stitch that you use to travel between one component and another is the distance you're traveling. So try to keep your components as close together as possible to minimize that voltage drop, and then make sure your connections are super secure. By tying really tightly around the components, then tying knots off and sealing them with clear nail polish. The other thing I would say about stitches is to make them nice and small. So I see sometimes in the forums people, when they're having trouble, they post up pictures of their work, and I see on beginners have a tendency to want to get to the part faster, so they make these like really big stitches where the thread's hanging off of the fabric. The purpose
Likely to snag.
likely to snag or likely to like bow out when the fabric bends and touch a neighboring stitch. So what you want to do is try to keep the thread one with the fabric as much as possible, and that means going back and forth and in and out with nice short stitches so that it doesn't bow away from the fabric.
Sound advice.
Last question.
Zane asks, working on a project that has NeoPixels sewn externally, but silicone
You probably mean silicone.
wiring internally. Any thoughts on making that connection secure?
Yeah, solder it, buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy Zane.
That's
So I asked Zane to make a diagram because I didn't understand what he meant, and this diagram
And he
makes
did.
it very. Thank you so much.
a
by the
nice
way.
diagram.
It is a nice, and it says here, thread wrapping over a stripped part seems fine to me. Not okay. Don't do this. It's just, it's
can
not that
see-
it
I can
won't
see
work for
that.
a minute. It'll work
My
for a
logic,
minute, but
yeah.
then as soon as you move the fabric, it's going to pull the insulation off the other part of the wire, and you're having like it's not a good connection. You know, you want it to pull. You don't want things to slide. So
If you're used to soldering things and putting things on the circuit board, it's like that looks good and sound. It's just a whole other world of considerations once things move. Of course.
Right. So
It's
what I
you
would
keep
say,
dealing with. Yeah.
and he mentioned he couldn't solder to the, like on the garment. So solder your circuit and then sew it onto the garment. Like use silicone wire and solder to the
Right.
NeoPixels, and then take the whole strand and sew them with regular thread onto your garment. That's what I would do. Or sew the whole thing with conductive thread. So like I said earlier about the conductor doing a better job like down the length of the piece of steel, and not as good of a job transitioning
Touching
the
parts,
surface
yeah.
area. Yeah, it's not as good as that like solid chunk of metal. So this connection is not going to deliver as much current as if it was just thread or if it was just wire.
Right.
So that's why I would say just use one or
wanna
the other.
Limit the amount of material junctions you have.
Correct.
fun.
And thank you for that nice diagram. Oh, and then at the end, though, if you do need to make a junction between conductive thread and wire, instead of at the end here where it's just a stripped end and then wire wrapped around it, because that's obviously just going to pull out, I would strip a little more, turn it into like a spiral shape,
Okay.
and then sew in and out of the spiral. That way, like when you pull on it,
Okay, I've seen
it
you use that technique. Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be more sound.
All right, thank you for your excellent questions. Moving along, we're going to do the giveaway because we're running a
giving the
little
book.
over. We're giving the book away. One of you who just asked a question will win. I just pulled your name out of my hat, so it fall off the table. Zane, you won. You win the book. The book
Congratulations,
has
Zane.
lots more techniques for working with conductive thread, so I hope that's useful to you. If you would please email support@adafruit.com to claim your prize. If you didn't win, that's okay. You can ask another question, and you'll be entered to win again. And if you didn't win and you want to grab the book or anything else from the Adafruit shop, you can use code FLORABLE for 10% off.
Florable.
That's just a florable.
That is a florable. That's all I got. There's nothing else to it.
Affordable, florable, BLE.
Florable.
Enflorable. Great. Okay. If you haven't had enough Adafruit live shows for the day, and you have a project you would like to show
I
off,
haven't had enough Adafruit live shows.
well, you come on this show and tell sometimes, right?
I'm gonna get more.
Later on, Massimo Bonzi will be here, and he's going to be on Ask an Engineer and Show and Tell. If you have a project you want Massimo to see, join our Show and Tell at 7:30 on Google Plus Hangouts on air. If you want to join, you go over to the Google Plus page, not the YouTube page. I know that's confusing, and post in the announcement for the Show and Tell, and we'll add you to the circle. Then you'll be invited to join the video chat when it
Come right in.
airs at 7:30, and then you'll be invited every week because you'll be in the circle. So if you've already shown, you're already in the circle, and you can just show up. It's a party that you're always invited to. And then Asking Engineers at 8 o'clock. Massimo Banzi, we're going to talk about Arduino some more.
I would hope so. That would be really weird if you had a show with him and you're like, well, you want to talk about guitars?
I could listen to Massimo talk about anything. I just love his accent.
Sweet guy.
Yeah, he's really sweet. And then stick around for tomorrow is 3D Thursday and the 3D Thursday Hangout with Noah and Pedro. Learn all about CAD for 3D printing and materials for 3D printing techniques and cool projects on Thursdays.
And swords.
And,
I'm just thinking about that
and
last.
swords. They did the Zelda sword, the wooden, made from wooden 3D printing filament. It's really good.
Real wood, real printed wood.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. Colin, thank you for hosting again.
Thank you for hosting always, Becky.
You're welcome. What am I supposed to say?
Yeah. That makes total sense.
Check out the Adafruit blog for more wearables all day Wednesday, and we will see you next week.
Take care. Bye.